And we're live with new person, Amber, and Jonathan, the Enneagram legend. Shannon, legend in the making. And we're going to be going through the E.S.I profile, which is a weird profile. Don't tell Victor I said that. It's just a little bit of a mix-up between ISFP and ISFJ, and we're going to try to understand this thing. So as you can see, it's all a bit blurry there. And because it's on the computer, and so I've not even actually used the sort of Western names for the functions. So I've not put, I've not put FI or SI or any of the 8. I've just put the Socionics ones in there, and we're going to go through it, and we're going to try and explain what's going on with this. So if I take that off, hey, that's working overtime, is that laptop? Right. Okay. So Jonathan, you want to read through those on the left and then sort of stop and comment, and then Shannon can come in and comment because.
Well, I think Shannon should go first.
Go on then, Shannon.
Okay. So one is recognizes well the ill-wishers, distinctly divides people into insiders and outsiders. I think from the Enneagram perspective, that definitely resembles a 6.
Yeah.
Like the ability to divide people based on threat level or risk.
Yeah, it's also a little social instinct as well. But
yeah.
So Shannon, is your tri-type best fit? Is it 613?
I believe so. I'm not 100% sold on that.
So what we could do, by the end of this hangout, we could actually find the tri-type of this profile.
Right. So number 2 gives firm evaluation of the morality of actions by those people he deals with. So evaluating morality seems very one-ish to me.
I agree.
I'll let the audience know. Jonathan identifies as a 1, so he recognizes it.
Well, there's a kind of a generalization there because lots of types can be moralistic and but probably every type can be moralistic under the right circumstances, and I wouldn't say one is the most. One is, in a way, one is the moralistic type, but there are other types that can come off as more moralistic because of they're more. The one wants very hard on themselves and how they express themselves, how they express their moralism. So they're trying to be moralistic in the correct way. That's not funny.
That's right. That is funny. It's like, damn it, I've not been moralistic in the right way.
Don't laugh at my life. That's what goes on in here. But yeah. So number 3 controls the distance in communication and stays at a safe distance from bad people. That's definitely more 6-ish. Practices wordless condemnation. What does wordless condemnation mean here? Because
would that be like scowling and?
Well, yeah, but it says expresses it through his tone. So
it means they don't come out blatantly and tell people exactly what they think of them.
Yeah, but how can you express it through your tone if you're not saying anything?
Well, it's just through it's the subtext, Jonathan. It's subtext.
Well, yeah, but I don't. How do you use tone without words?
Okay. An example. I have to say something about Jonathan with a tone. Are you sure, Jonathan?
That's
Versus,
words.
are you sure, Jonathan?
Yeah, but those are words. They're still words, Ben.
Yeah, okay. Watch some movie scenes that have been described as that have subtext in. I can give you an example.
I can
In
think.
the
I understand subtext. I understand all that. I just don't agree that this is wordless. I like that. Just seems like a poor word choice. If your example that you gave
It's not a very
uses
good
word
example. It's just off the top of my head.
because they use words.
Okay.
So yes, Victor. This is Victor's fault.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. Well,
Or the translators.
yeah, Olena translated it, and she actually translates things at a higher level than most of the audience. So, for instance, she'll put words in like forbearance, and I had to look that up in the dictionary.
I don't have to look it up, Ben.
Amber?
Wouldn't the distinction there be that they're not using words directly? So it's not calling something out via only words. It's more using whatever word.
Okay, I'm not saying I don't understand what this is going for. I just think, come on, you could have worded it better. Like, that's not really wordless, is it?
I guess I just didn't interpret it as conveying wordlessness in general.
So it could say practices condemnation of those who are guilty and expresses it through body language and look.
Or perhaps muted combination, or
subdued.
Right.
Subdued. Yes.
Subtext.
See,
Subtext.
I'm already improving this profile.
Well, very good, Jonathan.
As my Enneagram compels me to.
Well, I mean, this is what happens with Victor's profiles. There's a lot of discussion with, and I didn't discuss it with Alina. When Maria translates it, it's like we go through it and discuss it quite a bit about what is meant.
Well, then, when this is done just right, cross out wordless and put subdued. Jonathan says subdued or something.
It's almost like you can have the condemnation comes through. It would be there. It's there in anyway. It's there in subtext and it's there in like passive aggression and all these other things.
Yes,
it's there. It's just not there. It's just not spelt out word for word. But it's right. Yes, wordless could be changed. Yes.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm right. I'm glad you all acknowledge that. You all acknowledge that I am right. That's
yes. E1 pat on the head. Yes. And then you can pat me on the head with my inferiority. Right.
Oh, I was right with the world.
So did we have that? Shannon, did you comment on number 4? Hey, did you comment on number 3? I can't remember.
3 seems like a phobic 6.
Uh,
More self-pres, social, but not the sexual 6.
Yeah.
And 4, I see the one-ishness in the 4 in myself. Very passive aggression, giving people that look when you mess up. I'll give you the look.
Right, so just for the audience, I'm just gonna put this quickly on screen.
This look.
There you go. So if you want to pause it now, folks. So the overview of the 1, and then we're going to go to the 6 that was mentioned. I think this is the 6. Could be wrong. Oh, just by chance, it's the 6. Lucky click. Right, so pause it there, folks. Think about it, because then we're going to go back to the oh yes, and if you want to pause this as well, folks, I think this is the levels of the 6, and I'm just going to do. You can pause it, take the information in, because we've not got an enormous amount of time. If time can have enormity, with it not being a physical thing.
What is time? Is there such a thing as time?
Well, Kersey, you started going INTP by saying that time is of events, and if the events don't happen, there is no time. So that's why you'll get that expression, the place that time forgot, because if nothing happens.
Well, how can nothing happen though?
Well, the appearance of it.
Yes.
Right. So people can see that, and if they want to see the blessed Nick Helbig graphics, that's just going to be on. They can pause that, see that. So this is just the frame of reference that we're using. Well, of course, Jonathan's is better, but it will help, I suppose. Is that the 6? That's the 4. That's going to be the 5. That'll be the 6. And therefore, that one. So the audience can get an idea of that. And now I'll go back to... right. So I just thought that's just for the frame of reference instead of the Enneagram. Number 4, Shannon? Did you talk about that?
Say that again.
Did you talk about number 4? I'm gonna write down on here which numbers have been talked about, so I don't seem like a fool.
We got to 4, but I kind of sidelined the discussion a bit for some grammar, for a grammar lesson. I'm sorry.
Well, number 5 here is 4-ish to me. Rejects long-lasting relationships without return of affection.
Could that just be a sexual thing?
Yeah, it's very 2-ish. Maybe it's not a 4. Maybe the word affection kind of doesn't fit the 4. A 4 would be more like without return of depth.
It could be sexist if you're changing the word affection to reassurance. Perhaps. So,
yeah.
Seems like an image type thing, and maybe a 6. All right. So what about number 6?
Will tolerate playing fast and loose only to a certain point, after which he will end the relationships forever. A self-pred 6 will shut the door on that kind of recklessness.
That bit there, number 6, that is a bit that sounds a little bit ISFP-ish. That bit I could see as ISFP, but it didn't get the full green, as in totally consistent with ISFP. But that's an example of something that's not inconsistent. Oh yeah, so some people have asked, oh, what does the blue and black mean? Well, basically it means the same thing. I just did it like that so that it stands out better. So blue and black mean the same thing. Green means consistent with Kersey Bowen's ISFP. Red means inconsistent with Kersey Bowen's ISFP. And when it's red and underlined, that basically means sounds more like Kersey ISTJ. Or in this case, sounds more like Kersey ISFJ. So and this was based on my analysis comparing it with Linda Bowen's profile in her book, The 16 Personality Types.
Well, tolerate playing fast and loose with what though? Doesn't really. Is it with the roles? Is it with people? Is it with danger? Is it
well, Jonathan, it's in the R section about relationships.
With feeling. Well.
So it's probably going to relate to people.
Touche.
1-0.
I mean, it could be morality. So.
That's true, because you have got morality in number 2.
Aha.
Yes.
The tables have turned.
Yeah. But any general thoughts? Anything else? Amber, do you know much about Enneagram?
I know a little. I haven't really delved into it as deeply as maybe MBTI and now Socionics.
Right. So all this R stuff on the left, which Enneagram types do you think it just sounds like pretty much what's been said, a combo of 1 and 6? Or does anything else strike you?
Well, I definitely agreed with 6 when it was first brought up.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting because I read other profiles and they sound, or they could be interpreted as sounding more one-ish, which would be inconsistent with ISFP or Myers-Briggs Enneagram correlations, because it's very hard for me to think of a ISFP being a core 1.
Well,
because that's
I see points 2 and 4 seem more 1. The others seem like 6.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not. I would say 2 and 4 aren't exclusively 1 either. Like other things can do is just to go.
Yeah, I'll just say something about why Victor's profile for this type is even further removed from ISFP than the, say, Wikisocion E.S.I profile. So I would say the reason for that is Victor plays down the importance of the auxiliary function. So the auxiliary function being extroverted sensor. And he plays up the importance of introverted sensor. As you see here, he's got them blocked together. Also, the way that Victor defines extroverted intuition, he puts a little bit of risk into his definition of NE in terms of the ability to take risks. So when it comes to writing the profile, his profile has got any break, and he associates any with taking risks. So you end up writing a profile that is a little bit more risk averse than, say, the E.S.I profile on Wikisocion, which I printed off in 2013 and marked it up, and I think it mentioned impulsive 4 to 6 times. And that is significantly different from this one. And he even calls this one the Guardian. So the whole point of this hangout is to maybe that Enneagram is leaving its mark on this profile, I reckon.
Okay.
I think that's... Any other things to say, Shannon, about the ethics of relations? Should we move on to creative? Moving on. Number 1. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a cotton pick a minute. So how much of that did you relate to in R1?
All of it.
Ooh.
I also agree that 2 and 4 are more 1-ish and the rest are more 6-ish, but I definitely relate to all of that very strongly.
And this is what's interesting, is that whilst I see significant differences between this and ISFP, Shannon also identifies as ISFP, Kersey ISFP. And if you want to see the hangout on that, folks, we've done the first half of it's Kersey ISFP profile with Shannon. And maybe if you type Shannon into the search box or go into the second playlist where it's like the guests, and if you look for Shannon as a guest, you've got her hangouts, and you've got the tactical intellect. So it's just interesting. So it's interesting that you've got somebody who's ISFP and who resembles ISFP and resembles E.S.I, whereas somebody like Imogen would probably not relate as much to this profile as Shannon does. But Shannon, and the thesis is that Shannon relates to this for Enneagram reasons. So number 2 then. I mean, creative S. Number 1.
So, number 1, caring towards people owing to a sense of duty and compassion. A duty, that's a 6 word.
It can be a 1 word as well. Compliant type. And perhaps social word. But
the reason I did it in red is that I thought that that sounded guardian, because I was looking at this through the lens of Jungian type and Kersey temperament.
And
And
compassion.
it could also be a two-wing one.
Yeah. So this is introverted sensing.
Yeah.
It's an interesting contrast with how other socionists seem to understand introverted sensing, because they seem to see it as like the hedonistic function, the focus on personal comfort and stuff. Like I've heard a few people in certain Facebook groups say that the SEI is the hedonist, the pleasure-seeking type, and this isn't. This is much more similar to how Myers-Briggs and Jung would define SI. This particular one.
Yeah, what you get with Victor is, it's like, well, I mean, if our thesis is that he's basically thinking of like 613s, or, you know, sixes with a one fix when he's writing this profile, and because 6 is a very common Enneagram type pattern.
Well, I was thinking more like not just comparing, you know, this type to how sociology defines a type, more like this function.
Yeah, this function is so tricky. Trying to get a handle on it, because in short, I see this function as multifaceted. I agree with what Jung writes about it. I agree with what MBTI writes about it. They've all got a little aspects of it, and maybe in future, what gets put into this bucket will get split up into different aspects. Because even and I got an MBTI-ish book written by Leona Haas, and it's called Building Blocks of Personality Type. She's written official MBTI books, so basically her definitions are effectively the official MBTI definitions, and she's put in there things like attentive to the inner state. I'll just have a look, and so it is recognized by MBTI people, and Jeff has said about SJs, they will tell you about their medical problems. So it is recognized. So it says here, and this is in Building Blocks of Personality Type, has a high level of internal body awareness.
Yeah.
It's one of the key features of introverted sensor. I'll just,
well, that's consistent with the self-pres instinct in the Enneagram.
Yeah.
Which most SJs tend to be.
Yeah, most SJs have as you said, Jonathan, have a 6 in their tri-type.
Yeah, they're also self-pres, which is a combination. This is kind of self. I would say that most ISFPs have 6 in their tri-type as well. It's like,
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it's also like with ISFP, it's kind of weird because their second function is SE, but their weakest function is NE. So because the weakest function is NE, that makes it a bit odd if they were 7-ish, even though their SP is kind of 7-ish.
One of the things you get in interaction style, and I asked Jeff about this, is they are an accommodator in interaction style. So Kersey would say tactical accommodator. Now that's accommodating for an SP.
Right. Anyway, I think we've went to a tangent.
Yes. Sorry.
No, I think that was my fault this time. For a change, Ben.
Yes, but it's still factorial, though, in that the tangent was relevant. It's not like we changed subject to aircraft, tanks, or economics. It's still relevant.
Yeah, we're not talking about only fools and horses.
No.
Anyway, number 2. Will shelter and provide all help you can to someone in need. That's kind of vague.
Well, Shannon, what about for you, number 2?
That's a social one.
Could,
And it's
well, I
it
wouldn't
could be a 3 if it's returned.
see. I think any type could do that. It's more. Some types are more likely to do it than others, but I don't think it's necessarily a social one thing specifically. It's more like a multiple types. All help you can to someone in need. It's like each type will have their own idea of what all help he can would be. Yeah, I'd say.
Oh, I can give you an example of that. Enrique, we did the hangouts with Enrique on INTJ and NeTx, and he actually helped somebody, but it wasn't like an NT way of, because somebody wanted to be a computer programmer, and he says, well, if you do these courses and read these books and do these things, so he was being very helpful, but in an NT INTJ-ish way. So as you said, it depends.
Catherine says she knows someone who's an INTX, and he's either a 5 or he is 5 in the tri-type, but one day she was having trouble with his computer, and she was talking through it with him on the phone, and eventually he ended up just getting in his car and driving hundreds of miles to where she lived to fix the computer for her. So
I hope that she gave the next session free of charge.
Oh, it's not. It wasn't a session. It was one of her business partners in her true self company.
Right.
So,
all right.
Keeps his territory clean and tidy. Often cleans up. That is consistent with self-pres-ish, perhaps. And again, I've seen plenty of self-pres taste that are very messy. More self-pres one-ish, perhaps.
That reminds me of, because we did both of these blocks with Kristen, a young ISFP resembler, and she said that, and she was talking about when she was a student, and she said that she would clean up because nobody else would do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, and interestingly enough, with her, she does lots of stuff with her church, but she says that she only wanted to do it when she wanted to do it. She didn't want to do it out of a sense of duty. So it was very interesting. And Jeff has talked about this as well, like in reference to some of the charitable things he's involved with or was involved with. Like he wants to do it as an instinct of kindness rather than out of duty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 3 and 4 here are both self-pres 1, focus on aesthetics and cleanliness.
Yeah.
And state of health is even the self-pres 1.
Yeah. Well, state of health is self-pres in general. They'll pay attention to that. Then again, Donald Trump is supposedly a self-pres, and he is the worst diet. just like McDonald's every day. Although he's still alive, so perhaps. Who knows? Maybe there's something to that diet.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, ESDPs burn it off. I mean, my father's a similar age, and he's always active.
Very good at handwork.
That was the key phrase in there for me. Not just ready to take on household duties. Ready to do it.
Well, what does that mean to you? Because that sounds to me like they're prepared to do it if they have to.
I thought it meant that they're sort of
eager,
almost eager.
Yeah, I don't think that necessarily implies eager.
Well, you know what I mean. It's not quite full eager. But yeah, it's ambiguous with the ready.
It's almost 3-ish with the inertia of it.
What do you mean?
Like a 3 will be ready to act.
Mm. Well, this is focused specifically on household duties, though, so it's more not quite the same. Like a 3's ready to act, to do whatever job is required of them for success and efficiency and stuff, whereas this is more like, this is a bit more specific, I feel. But I kind of understand what you mean, but yeah.
Well, you take on the household duties if the president was coming over to their house in a half hour.
Well, are you ready to take on your household duties, Shannon?
I am.
Can be entrusted with keeping an eye on territory or a building. It's a very specific thing. Does he have a specific building in mind? Or this sounds. At this point, you can kind of tell he's, again thinking of specific people, I think, or specific examples in the back of his head.
Oh, Jonathan, are you aware of Mary Whitehouse?
Yes.
You see, it's unfortunate that Americans don't know who she is, because she's a good, and I agree with Jack about her resembling E.S.I. It's just, it's hard for me to name any E.S.Is that people can sort of instantly get as a reference point.
Well, do you think she's that, and do you think she's ISFP though in Myers-Briggs, or definitely an SJ?
Ooh, that's the thing is,
if she's an ISFP, she's the most SJ-ish ISFP of all.
Yeah, because she was willing to confront with Mary Whitehouse, and I don't see ISFJ as like that. It might be one of these weird things where,
well, I would say ISFJs are not willing to confront, just like they'll try to accommodate first.
Yeah. But she was a big moral campaigner, and anyway, the Americans will be alienated by talking about Mary Whitehouse. But
well, they've got their own examples. I remember Marge Simpson did that once in an episode of The Simpsons early on. Where there's an early episode of The Simpsons where Marge Simpson sees that her children are watching Itchy and Scratchy, actually watches it for the first time and sees how horribly violent it is, and so she and a whole bunch of women just start campaigning to get it taken off the streets.
Yeah,
taken off the screens.
Yeah, Jeff has said that about you've got clear Kersey temperaments in Simpsons.
Yeah, and the episode, the mob she gathered to take this thing off the screen shows up at her house and says they've got a new issue, and it's that Michelangelo's David is coming into town, and they're saying this is vulgar nudity. And Marge says, but that's a masterpiece, it's horrible. And then they all just turn their backs on her.
Right.
But she's definitely ISFJ, and she starts trying to be accommodating. Like, she sends in pleasant letters to the creators of the cartoon, and they just read them and throw away, and eventually that's when it escalates to her getting involved in a march. So that's what I meant there. That was the line of reasoning I was on.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm not going to criticize you for your NE, because it's not going to be a pot kettle situation there. So Shannon, you've gone through this saying which Enneagram types it sounds like. Now, in terms of yourself, how much do you relate to this S plus stuff?
I'm big into neatness. I don't know. It's kind of half and half with this one.
Right.
Number 8, good at nursing the patients back to health. I just can't picture myself. I'd be like Nurse Ratched. No, just kidding.
Oh. If you look on your Jonathan, if you look on your slate, Jeff has put Eric from Dungeons and Dragons might be ESI.
The cartoon. I haven't seen that in a long time, so
Great music,
Oh.
man. You used it a lot, but that was a good series, that.
memories.
I
just
think the
remember-
number 7, the entrusted with keeping an eye on a territory or building, I see that maybe through more of an SE way. Like I can spot, like if something, like if the wall is crumbling in the corner or something.
This seems more like if you're asked to do it or if you're ordered to do it, like you would do it of
Well, I mean, as it says there,
assignment.
Victor calls this type the Guardian.
Mm.
I'll just make that bigger for people.
It's like systematic and dutiful. I
So you see
don't
there-
know if I'm so much this.
So if you see there, that Linda Behrens wrote about the SJs, tend to protect and preserve, to stand guard and warn. But like again, it's coming from Enneagram. So this is the thing, as Jonathan has said before. I mean, 6 can sound very guardianish.
Yeah.
It's like with Laura Miller.
Well,
I-
phobic 6 sounds very guardianish, specifically.
Quite right, Jonathan.
Keeping you straight, Ben.
Yes, very good. You and Jeff and Sana always keep me straight. Keep me on the straight and narrow typological lane. Alright.
It is not easy.
Right. L minus is roughly TI, and actually L minus is TI, which is about looking at things from different angles, rather than L plus is about sticking to a rigid structure. And you might think, and I can give some evidence for 2 different kinds of TI, in that ENFPs are supposed to be TI break, but they're actually quite good at abstract thinking because they are an abstract type. They are intuitive and therefore abstract. But what they are bad about is sticking at a rigid structure. So we can maybe say, and also when you look at Dario Nardi's research, it's not like there's one area for TI. There's like lots of different aspects of it.
Well, what I've heard about TI poor is that because they're bad at that, they either abandon it completely, or they stick to one system, or they choose one system and just stick to it and understand everything through the lens of this logical system that they've adopted.
What, for LSI?
No, for TI poor.
Oh, right.
They'll either TI poor will either reject logic entirely, or they'll choose one logical system and then stick to it. That's what I've read.
Usually I would say with ENFP, the ones that have not developed TE, they'll probably stick to a system that's ethically based, and so you end up with the SJW stereotype, and if not that, you still get the Kersey role variant of the advocator, the champion of causes.
Oh, Ben, that's just pure socionics. Don't you know? Don't you know that the SJW stereotype are all betas?
Really?
Supposedly.
That's crazy.
Yes, damn right it's crazy, but that's what you get. You know, like if you're ideological, you're a beta.
Weird, making quadras look bad. All these people giving Socionics a bad name.
Yeah.
Passive.
I'm just being a bit passive aggressive now.
But what I have noticed though, ENFPs, they get a bit more mature and develop that TE. They can really get themselves organized and act like ENTJs. They don't like it, but they can do it.
Yeah. I saw a good ENTJ film yesterday, actually.
Go on, Jonathan.
Molly's Game.
30-second any thoughts.
Okay. Molly's Game. It's a true story as well, so that helps. It is apparently very close to what actually happened. So it's about someone. I'm pretty sure she's not ESDP or ENTJ, but a lot of things make her seem ENTJ-ish, and she's was brought up to be a competitive athlete, but she ended up having an accident, and she decides to go her own way, and she got wrapped up in the world of underground poker and started her big poker games, and ended up having poker games with all these celebrities and bankers, and eventually the Russian mob got involved and all that stuff. It's kind of crazy story.
Well, I mean,
But the long and the short of it is that the actor Tobey Maguire is a horrible, horrible human being.
right. Anyhow, so you hit on a good point there when you said either ESDP or ENTJ, because they can look very similar.
Yeah.
The smarter ESTPs with stronger TE can look like ENTJs, and I can give you a case in point. Damon Gray or Chad Crandall is somebody who appears ENTJ-ish, but when it gets down to it, he's more tactical than strategic.
Well, is that an ESDP that was like an ENTJ, or is that an ENTJ that was like an ESDP?
With Chad Crandall,
Because
I believe he's ESTP that looks like ENTJ.
Because having been in videos with him and having seen some of his older videos, the way he speaks just was almost like the basis for a certain type of extroverted thinking.
Well, you see, the thing is, though, Jonathan, I have checked him out, and he did a business degree, and he's a salesman, and he's now a gold salesman, and he studied NLP. Not just studied NLP, as an NLP master practitioner, and so he knows how to get to present himself in a certain way. I saw him in one hangout where it was more him just goofing around with his friends, and it was more not the professional polish that he usually has. Very polished, like he could be president the way he presents himself. Very good his presentation, very skilled. But anyhow, I have been told things about what happened with the way he set things up on his website, and basically I've been given evidence for weak NI with him. He's just a very clever ESTP that's done a lot of NLP and has trained in business.
Who speaks like a T, though. Just
well, that's a promoter, though, isn't it?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, really, no. I mean, the way he speaks. I've even talked to another INFJ about this, and we agree that the way he speaks, it hits us like a hammer. Right. Just the way, just. But yeah, I'm just. We went on another tangent.
Yes. Jonathan, you're being very NE today.
Yes. Anyway, watch the film Molly's Game. It's very good.
What's it called?
Molly's Game.
Molly's Game.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an excellent film. Jessica Chastain.
Yeah. I said Tobey Maguire's a horrible person. I don't mean that he's in it. I mean that there's a character in it who is based on him. And she doesn't say who he is. She just calls him Player X. But it turns out she's talking about Tobey Maguire. And he's actually probably nicer in the film than he was in real life. And that's saying something, because in the film he says that he doesn't like playing poker. He likes destroying people's lives.
Ooh.
So apparently Tobey Maguire is a truly vile human being, from a little bit of gossip.
Is part of you a little bit hot for that joke, Jonathan, because you are an INFJ?
No, this is my Enneagram 1 coming out, like.
Oh, right, okay.
Evil.
Right. That must be a problem when ESTP is your jewel.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yes, obviously. Right then, L- on the left. Go on, Shannon. If you go through each one, sort of like this, what Enneagram type or instinct it sounds like, and then if you talk about how it refers to you, sort of like alternate like that. So it's like Enneagram you, Enneagram you, Enneagram you, and then Jonathan can go through.
Okay. Sorry, I got a little bit lost in what order that was supposed to be.
Yeah, it was just sort of like, so say with number 1, if you say which Enneagram or instinct it sounds like, and then you can say, well, from talking from my point of view, I relate to this or don't relate to it. So it's like Enneagram theory and then your personal experience for each one of those numbered bullet points.
Okay. Well, number one, I don't know which Enneagram type that resembles. Maybe Jonathan knows.
Strives to understand the logic of events and act according to it. That could be 6. It could also be 5. It could also be 1. It could just be any intelligent person, really. Or at least, I'd say, intelligent people would try to understand the logic of events, at least. I wouldn't acting according to it. It's a bit more pragmatic.
I'll just say something that you can have intelligent people who say got an EP mindset where they will use the logic as it comes up. In this, but so they use it to overcome obstacles as it comes up, but they don't use it as the thing to guide.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking.
Path.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So yeah, not 7, but it could be 6 or 5. Pardon me. Reacts vehemently to accusations of prejudice. I have definitely seen 6s do that. I've seen some 5s do that. And some 4s, perhaps. It's more... Why are they reacting to accusations of prejudice? Is it because they see themselves as objective? Or is it because...
No, it's because of number 1, isn't it? Because they're always got strong opinions on people. Because, it's got there in number 1, where it's like, if you've got somebody who's doing this stuff, like the give firm evaluations of morality, this person's this person's that, and then someone then if someone keeps making all these judgments, then then someone could accuse them, you're just being prejudiced. So I think it's because of the lead R. It's because they're judgmental, they get accused of being prejudiced. That is my assumption.
Well, yeah, but why? If it's because the lead R, then why is it in the L?
Sometimes there's things in these profiles. Now, sometimes I move them around, and I should have moved it. I wasn't confident enough to move it, but yeah, I don't think you're right, Jonathan. I would not put that in there.
See, I could see it being in there. It just depends on the reason. Like, I could see introverted thinking not liking being called prejudiced if it thinks that it's being objective. And I have seen that, in fact, but like if it's being logical objective. But
oh yeah, I got it. This is it. So L- is about looking at things from different angles, and so maybe they could say, "Oh, you're prejudiced. You're not. How dare you say that? I have looked at this issue from all of the angles. I have considered all of the angles. How dare you say I'm prejudiced towards one?"
Yeah,
that's
it.
But some types react quietly and some types can react vehemently.
Yes. So then, Shannon, seeing as we're alternating, what do you think about number 2?
Somebody who's going to react vehemently, I could see a 1 reacting vehemently to, like, if from a 1 standpoint of a 1 wanting to be seen as fair, maybe an 8 also just reacting.
Well, it's not just reacting vehemently, it's reacting vehemently to accusations of prejudice. Yeah. So I see for myself, it's like, on the one hand, I don't like being accused of that, but I also think, well,
yeah,
am I? Like, I want to make sure I'm being objective here. Sometimes people use it as an excuse just to dismiss your ideas or what you're saying. So
this is just a thing in Model G. The way Victor defines R minus, FI minus, is that it makes these strong. It's like it's not the logic of forgiveness. It's the logic of like condemnation. And so you've got that. So you've got this condemnation. But L minus has to do with logic of fractal structure, the ability to look at things from different angles.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just the part of them that is about looking at things with different angles gets offended by that. How dare you? I do look at things with different angles. Yes, but you're a judgmental so-and-so. Yes, but I do also look at things with different angles.
Mm-hmm. I find three interesting. I find three interesting. Finds it hard to step back in order to deal with the problem calmly. That's almost like proving two is right.
Okay.
Proving the accusations of prejudice are right.
Okay. Well, based on the way things are going, Jonathan, you just go through the bullet points. Then we'll have Shannon go through it because the alternating is not working. So go on, Jonathan, go for it. Number 3 and onwards to the end.
Right. So finds it hard to step back in order to deal with the problem calmly. I just find that interesting because that sounds like, yeah, they are prejudiced. Almost like makes them sound prejudiced if they can't deal with the problem calmly. But yeah, that's definitely. I don't see how that's introverted thinking. Again, that definitely sounds more emotional and ethics based. Like, yeah, 4 and 6 and 8 would be consistent with that.
Which one are you talking about? Which bullet point?
Bullet point 3.
Right.
Yeah, that's like that says very reactive type sort of thing.
It's this part of it is the L minus of stepping back and looking at a problem from different angles.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's the role function, it's a weaker function, and it can be used. It's just that it's like the flip side of the lead function because it's both an introverted judging function. It's just that if that's in play a lot, if they've got these strong feelings about something, that's going to inhibit their ability to step back from their feelings and look at a problem in an unemotional way.
Mm-hmm.
An objective, in quotation marks, way.
All right. Works well with documents that involve analysis and accounting. Again, it's just a case of does this really belong in TI minus? Like, that's not what I'd think of like an SG or an extroverted thinking type.
Well, L minus is in LII, and Victor calls the LII the analyst.
Yeah. Well, they count. Okay.
INTPs do notice inconsistencies.
Yeah. It just that sounds.
I know it sounds a little bit SJ.
Yeah. Ross well done involved analysis accounting. Probably self-pres 6-ish or 6-1.
For number 6, right.
What? For number 4.
Oh, number 4, right.
For bullet point 4, sounds self-pres 6-ish, 6 with. Stereotypically, that would be a 6 with 3, but I've seen other people do it without the tri-type. So, bullet point 5 notices mistakes and discrepancies in plans, schedules, and reports. Again, how much of this is? Some of that just seems like you know what you're doing. You know your job. You know your job. You're intelligent enough to notice this thing. That's like. Oh, vague. Values his reputation of a serious-minded and dependable employee. definitely a self-pres. Self-pres 3 would have won that, but self-pres 3, self-pres 5 and 6, maybe 7. Self-pres 1. Those will all be those things. It depends on why do they value the reputation.
Well, it's that R stuff, isn't it? If they're condemning people and stuff, they don't want to be called out. So again, it's the very E1-ish, isn't it? This type, it's got E1 themes in it, and it's called The Guardian.
Kind of. It's very specifically a self-pres 1, because he's self-pres 3 one in this as well. Because they're wanted for different reasons. The self-pres 3 will be wanted. 3 want success and to be efficient. Self-pres 3 specifically looking to be successful and efficient in order to have money and a stable career and so on.
Right.
To survive. Whereas the one's more the duty.
That would actually also apply to Laura Miller. That number 6, and she's a 6 INTP, and she would, and I think she's self-pres 6 as well.
Yeah, 6 self-pres 6 will as well, because they'll be worried about their safety and their security systems and being supported. A good teacher of structured disciplines, e.g. mathematics in elementary and secondary school. That's a little backhanded. Like, you're good at maths, but not that good.
Well, it's pretty. I mean, if you're teaching at secondary school, you're teaching A-level mathematics.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than me. I couldn't do it, but still, like, again, that'll be consistent with the 6. When structure and the school.
You have to ask Imogen if she actually teaches her children, because she's a homeschooler, how she got on with teaching the mathematics. Because she was teaching about 4 or 5 children. Now then, Shannon, if you were there.
Yeah, did you turn my camera
No,
off?
I did not. I did not. I would not do such a thing.
I thought you turned your camera off.
Now, why would I do that? That would be an insult. So, Shannon, now, if you go through the bullet points, say what they sound like, and I'm just going to, and then, so what, like, pretty much what they sound like, and then also your experience of it.
Okay, so 1 sounds like everybody. I'm skipping 2. That one was a little ambiguous. 3 finds it hard to step back in order to deal with the problem calmly. Skipping that one. Works well with document. So the rest of these seem very 5, 6-ish or 6-wing 5. Noticing the mistakes. 6s are looking for the problems. That also could be 1-ish. Discrepancies in plans, schedules, and reports. A good teacher. Maybe not a 5, but a 6-wing 5. 5 would be good in math, but a 6-wing 5 would be good at teaching it as well.
Right.
Reputation.
I'll just yeah, go on. I'll do it in text. Yeah.
Well, number 6, a 6 would want to be seen as a dependable employee to their authority figure, who is their boss. They wouldn't want to be seen as too much of a goof off unless their career revolved around comedy. Maybe Jim Carrey wouldn't have to be as serious on the job.
Yeah, apparently you've got some questions for you in the chat from M. Can you see them, Shannon?
I cannot.
Right, okay. Well, what I'm going to do with my new setup is I'm going to get my webcam and I'm going to point it at the screen. All right, there you go. Oh no, it's not going up. Weird.
Can you read it for me, Ben? 'Cause
Yeah, there we go. What we got here? I was just wondering, Shannon, I'm E.S.I as well. What's your experience of any polar? Do you have an example of when it has limited you in any way at all? Like a real life example, thanks.
Any what?
Polar, any break?
So you're vulnerable. What's your experience with extroverted intuition?
Yeah.
My experience with extroverted intuition, that's something it doesn't feel like a strong point for me. Anything that requires it takes a lot of energy.
What is it like dealing with the ENTPs, and what is it like dealing with me?
I can't follow tangents. I can't go off of off script or I guess I want to know what the structure is of things.
You're in the wrong channel.
Well, I'm looking to strengthen those areas, so maybe I'm in the right channel.
I think we can do it just enough. Is that I tangent, and Jonathan's tangented today, but it's within the same subject. Like I said, we've not gone on to another subject. So,
Okay, so if you're gone into Twilight Zone or tanks.
yeah, or economics, then it would be, that would be bad.
Or like if you're talking about those political figures, or like before you pushed the live button. Like I was just studying my book here because I couldn't follow.
Which political figures did I talk about? I can't remember.
We were talking about who might be ESI before Marge Simpson.
Oh yeah. Oh right.
Well, that was in the recording. That's on. That's been documented.
Well, that was part of it.
Yes.
I'm giving several examples.
Yeah, but it's like, I think that, but the reason I do, if I do tangent, I'm tangenting to another angle on the issue. It's not as if I've changed the subject completely.
Yeah, I would say like the person he was talking about was Mary Whitehouse, and he's offering her as an example of E.S.I, so that's not really a tangent. Mary Whitehouse she was a British social activist who like campaigned against certain things being shown on television, like violence and swearing and nudity and all that stuff. So like a kind of social conservative person. She wasn't really a politician. She was just an activist.
Yeah, she led the National Viewers and Listeners Association. She was sort of proved right when it came to violence, in that she campaigned about Doctor Who being too violent in the 1970s for young children. So she was sort of proved right about violence, but where she was off was, and sort of against the culture, was that because of her Christian background, she was against like the depiction of homosexuality on television. So she sort of campaigned against that as well. So she was right when it came to violence, but not right in that area, judging by society's view of her now. So it just gives you an idea of she was committed on both fronts, and it had to do with her she was a very strong Christian, and that she was very E.S.I, and she was very much there was a strong sense of wanting to protect the children from corrupt influence of television programs. So, for example, she would mention there was a particular episode of Doctor Who where Tom Baker is being strangled underwater, and she was saying that is a bad image to leave in a children's mind for a week. Someone being strangled as they're drowning, and it's like going, "Die, Doctor, die." So
that sounds cool. I want to watch that episode now.
Yeah, that is called The Deadly Assassin, and it's in episode
Oh
3.
yes, oh yes, that one. Oh, yeah, I've seen that. That's seen that a while.
Proper Doctor Who, written by Robert Holmes, the best Doctor Who writer.
Yeah. See, that wasn't any tangents. You know, we're going on to Doctor Who now.
Yeah.
We'll go back on track.
Yeah, it was illustrative though.
Can I qualify by saying that some things that feel like tangent, I guess my idea of what a tangent is like anything outside of this small little compartment. So anything outside of that might not be a tangent to you, but to me it's like, whoa, where did we just go?
Yeah. So is that one of the things that you like about the Model G graphics? It's in nice little compartments.
I do like compartment. Where am I?
So I think you had another question as well. And what's your experience with SLE, ESDPs? Do you have one? Do you have one? Can you explain it? So in terms of an experience.
I'm sorry, catch that.
Yeah, it says. I'll put it on the screen.
Someone is asking you, what is your experience with SLEs or ESDPs? Do you have one, and can you explain it? Do you have experience with ESDPs?
ESTPs.
Yes.
I don't have enough experience to comment on that.
Okay. Answer the question.
Right then.
Anyway, back on track.
Yeah, I think Shannon, you were answering these. I can't remember where you got to because I got distracted. I think you.
No, she got to the end. We're on the launcher function now.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. Right, so go on then, Jonathan. If you talk about T plus, and then Shannon can come in.
Okay, so this is extroverted thinking. Will not continue waiting when promises given to him are delayed. That is consistent with SPs, but not for the promise thing. It's more just SPs won't continue waiting at all.
Yeah, that's why I've got it in green.
Yeah.
Very consistent with ISFP.
Yeah. That can be kind of 8-ish in a way, like you said something, you didn't deliver, I'm off. I don't expect it. Expects quick settlements of the situations. Again, that's kind of consistent with 8. Clear deadlines and positive expectations mobilize him. That's definitely consistent with 6.
Yeah, also with SPs as well, it's like in terms of artisans, in that you've got something to go up against, something to challenge you, leaving it to the last moment.
Yeah, the positive expectations part is more consistent with 7, but the clear deadlines part, I would say 6. The closer the expected event is, the more anxious he becomes. Definitely 6. Anxiety. The pace of developments activate him. Hope appears while fears and apprehensions going away. Again, 6. Just the very bad you bring up fears and apprehensions. Believing his rightness substantially boosts his moral strength. That's 6. That's 1 that could be kind of 8 as well.
Right, so I'll just say here from a model point of view, so you've got launcher, so you've got boosts, launches, activates him, more anxious, mobilizes him. So you've got mobilize, activate, boost. So you can see how the model launcher has sort of affected what is in this box in terms of the wording. So 3 or 4 of these are about getting it active, the starter, the thing that gets the type going, the launcher. So then, over to you, Shannon.
So, will not continue waiting. That does seem like 6-ish, like they're going to go do it themselves and not wait. Expect quick settlement of the situations. That seems kind of 6-8. Clear deadlines and positive expectations. Clear deadlines. 6s like clear deadlines. 7 with the positivity. The number 4, the closer the expected event is, the more anxious he becomes. I can relate to that as a 6. Trying to think the other types. The pace of developments activate him. Hope appears while fears and apprehensions go away. I would say that's 6 and 7. 7s do have anxiety, and they do seem to be mobilized with hope. Number 6, belief in his rightness substantially boosts his moral strength. That seems kind of 1-ish. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, number 5 particularly sounds like the artisan temperament, that particular bit.
Yeah, the optimism of the artisan.
So you also, so because you do resemble that temperament as well. So does that 5 speak to you as well? John,
It does.
Yeah. Right. Because also some of this is, does this sort of like, because you've talked about your counterphobic moments where you're sort of more of your artisan side comes out, and does it usually come out based around these things? Sort of like, are these like the reasons why, or do you just suddenly decide, oh, I just want to do something completely different? I think you mentioned.
I think that my counterphobic, I see it as more actually a self-preservation instinct moving me toward being counter. Like, for me, I would take risks and do things in a way that would kind of secure finances or safety. I would do unsafe, risky things and try to obtain safety, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, like no risk, no reward, basically.
Right. Right, like jumping on the back of the ice cream truck. I'm going to risk losing my friends if I don't do that. Or maybe that's a little bit of self-pres and social.
Right.
On the other hand, you might die if you do that. So, you know.
Well, luckily I didn't.
Right then. I was just taking a little bit of strain off my computer so it doesn't. The fan has come on quite a bit. Should be okay. Anyway, so now we go on to the next block, I believe. So it should be this one, the self-affirmation block. 2 valued functions here. So extroverted sensing, so F for power sensing, force, and P for practical thinking, productivity, extroverted thinking. So Jonathan, take it away on the F minus.
I kind of I know this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, blah, blah, but I kind of expect you to do this earlier because these are the stronger functions, even though they're not preferred. But it's just another tangent.
Yes. I mean, I'll just say that what you'll notice in some of these is there's a lots of things in here where the strengths are usually situational.
Okay. Right. So this is extroverted sensing.
Yeah. False. Yeah.
A rightful owner of his territory. Definitely sounds 8-ish. Will not let strangers dictate their rules. 8-ish, 7-ish. Well, who lets strangers dictate the rules? I suppose if the authority figure is a stranger, they might, but anyway. Actively protects himself and his dearest from any abuse. Absolutely an 8ish quality. They'll protect themselves and their dearest.
Oh, I'll just say one thing. This is F and P. You get the self-affirmation block, the supervisee shift. The supervisee of E.S.I is SLE, and SLE is frequently 8ish. So this is sort of like, it's almost the situations in which, so in Enneagram terms, we could say these are the situations in which E.S.I might seem 8ish. That might be a thing.
Okay. When he has decided to give an answer, he will be capable of doing this roughly and unequivocally. Again, that's consistent with the rough and unequivocal stuff. And the fact that they have decided to give the answer. Constantly keeps himself up, does not allow anyone to catch him at a weak moment. Absolutely 8. Uninvited guests annoy him. That's consistent with 8 because it's with 5 and a couple of other types, but it's consistent with 8. In upbringing, he is strict and demanding. There is no point asking him for indulgence. Is that their upbringing as children, or is that when they upbring their own children? Who's doing the upbringing here?
Yeah, I think this is like them as a parent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I imagine Mary Whitehouse would be like that.
Yeah. That could be it. It's also consistent with 1.
But you can see there, it's situational. These are the situations in upbringing, in a situation. Because that's the thing with self-affirmation block. It's like when it talks about INTP and it says that when they're with people closer to them or talking about something that they're interested in, then they're expressive. So again, it's like these are the ones that have caveats, I suppose. Situational caveats.
When he is exacerbated, it is better to keep it out of his way. That again sounds... Well, that could be a 6, but it is consistent with 8 as well. It doesn't really clarify why you wanted to stay out of their way, but with the rest of this, it sounds like in an 8ish threat sort of way. So yeah, I'd say overall this sounds quite 8ish.
Yeah, and it fits with the supervisee shift to SLE, ESDP. So Shannon, what do you think about those things on the left?
Yeah, it's definitely 8ish.
Yes, but do you do those things, and do you have interesting stories?
So yeah, uninvited guests annoy me. Somebody just like I saw a meme the other day and it's like introverts are like the best browser window that takes forever to load, and an extrovert is like a pop-up window. It's like that's how I feel about uninvited guests. It's like a pop-up. Like, where did this person come from?
I'm sure that was just a coincidence with Unbeliever.
5 seems a little bit 3ish. It's definitely 8ish. The word weak is something that 8 doesn't want to associate with. And I think that, I don't know, I don't see myself as really 8ish, but I see myself as relating to the owner of my territory. Like I want to, I don't want anything or anyone to like dictate. I don't want strangers to dictate their rules. That could be 6ish too.
Yeah.
Don't want anybody to have power over me. I protect myself and my dearest from any abuse. Yeah, I can relate to that. But that could be anybody.
Yeah, it's like this definitely describes the 8, but it doesn't prescribe the 8. It doesn't. It's not. It's not like. It's more like if you were 8ish, you would relate to all this. But if you relate to this, it doesn't mean you're 8ish necessarily.
Yeah, I could see where number 7 is 8ish in upbringing, like an 8 parent, like the might is right archetype, can be strict, and there's no point in trying to manipulate to get what you want as a child. There's no, because the 8's going to be like, nope, because I said so, that's why. And number 8, when any type is exasperated, you better stay out of their way. You're going to end up with psychopaths and sociopaths all over the place.
Furious Titan.
A plug for ones is, well, number 8 does remind me of ones.
Really?
Yeah.
That exacerbates me.
An exasperated one, you better wear a helmet. I just say that because of my experience with ones.
I don't think a helmet would save you from me if I was. Anyway.
Yeah, Jonathan knows martial arts. Jonathan doing kung fu.
That's true. I do know kung fu.
Yes. What level did you get? I think you got up to quite a high level, didn't you, Jonathan?
Yes and no. I got to brown, where it took me a long time to get there, and I wasn't the best at. It took me much longer to get there than it should have, and I was stuck there for too long. Some of that is my fault, but some of it's circumstantial. Anyway, those are just victories lost, battles not won. Anyway, manipulative.
Practical thinking correlates to pretty much extroverted thinking. Business logic.
I thought the last one was extroverted thinking. Not like number 4.
Number 4 was NI. That was T. It was
NI,
T for time.
Okay, I said it was extroverted thinking. I have lied to this audience. Damn. I didn't even recognize myself in that description either. Okay. I have shamed myself. Okay. Oh. Thrifty. Consistent with self-res was kind of 3, perhaps. Practical and daily routine, uses everything that he has on his territory.
I'll just say for the audience that Victor defines and Socionics, and Victor defines extroverted thinking as business logic. So a lot of these things will be in that area.
Self-res. As clear material obligations with partners is definitely self-res. We'll make him it's kind of funny how it's all self-res, because so many ENTJs seem to be self-res last, or identify self-res last. But then again, the ENTJ in particular I'm thinking of is apparently decided he's SLE.
The reason why that is, though, is that ENTJs have a more positivistic kind of TE, where they're willing to take more chances in business.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of weird, because ENTJs are they agree with extroverted thinking.
Yeah.
But but their weakest function is introverted sensing. So self-present instinct is kind of like a mixture of those two functions.
Right, gotcha. What I see it though, and Kersey, I don't know if Kersey wrote about it, but I see ENFJ and ENTJ as having stress-related illnesses because they're just too much workaholics.
Yeah. Well, some ESJs can be like that as well, but for different reasons.
Yeah, EJ is the EJ mindset.
Yeah. I have a tangent I want to go on, but I'm going to respect Shannon.
How good is this tangent?
Go for it.
It's not good at all. Have you ever seen that show Parks and Rec? No. Well, the main character in Parks and Rec is an ESFJ, but I got in an argument with someone in a Facebook group because they started saying, actually, they originally thought it was ESFJ, but they changed their mind to ENFJ because in certain episodes they overworked themselves to meet their obligations and interpreted that as weak introverted sensing, which I was saying, basically my point was even ESFJs can overwork themselves.
Yeah, because especially if it's for other people.
Yes, definitely. That was definitely for other people.
Yeah.
You might like Parks and Rec because there's a ESTJ libertarian in it.
Ooh.
One of the main characters.
I wonder if he's into the Constitution and stuff like that, because they're still going to go towards the authority and the history, the ESTJs.
He kind of is, yes. Like he's talking about what principles this country was founded on.
Oh, it's true. It was founded on very libertarian principles that have been chipped away.
Yeah.
Now that would be a digression, Shannon. That would, if we then talked about that, that would be a proper digression. And no.
That would be an interesting video to do, actually. But anyway.
Oh, I love to do libertarian videos. Go on, Jonathan. Back on track.
Well, I meant the show, but okay.
Oh yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
I binge watched it. Well, make himself do the necessary work. I'd say that's consistent with self-pres. Combine several well-proven methods of work. That is consistent with 6, the well-proven part. I guess self-pres 6. Cannot sit idle for a long time. That is consistent with 3, I think. 3 will want to be doing. These are sometimes called they aren't human beings, they're human doings, they need to be doing stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of consistent with 7 as well. I suppose some 6 can be like that. Good at distributing money within the given sum. What does that mean?
I don't know. I think I got it. It basically, whatever money you've got, it spends it wisely. Because that's what I think what it means by given sum. Within the given amount.
Distributing money within the given sum, so yeah. Okay. Kind of like generous, but slightly penny pinching at the same time.
I think it just means that they know how to stay within a budget.
Well, it says distributing money, so.
Oh, okay.
I suppose it's okay. Either way, it's consistent with self-pres and 3 and maybe 5, but mostly self-pres. Organize the exchange of services, gifts giving.
Just to work maybe in conjunction with the lead FI, the lead ethics of relations, maybe.
Yeah. That could be consistent with 2, actually.
But also exchange of services.
Yeah. Again, that's definitely consistent with self-pres. Gifts giving and the services. There's going to be more 2 there, but you can see all the taste. Provides welfare assistance to his neighbours and colleagues. That would be consistent with 6. The welfare, but specifically to the neighbours and colleagues. So yeah, this is a very self-pres function.
Oh yeah, so I was just saying on the left there, Number 8, the Google Translate did say, in the moment, irritation better not get caught under his arm.
What?
That was the Google Translate, was when it says there, when he is exasperated, it's better to keep out of his way.
Oh, yeah.
And the original was, in the moment, irritation better not get caught under his arm. So there might be a Russian phrase, don't get caught under his arm.
Or it could be utter nonsense.
Well, there was a skill, I suppose, to trying to understand the Google Translate. So over to you, Shannon, with your thoughts on the manipulative P+.
Okay, so 1 is definitely self-pres, thrifty. Practical and daily routine, uses everything that he has on his territory. That seems self-pres. Demands clear material obligations from his partner. Yeah, that's self-pres. Will make himself do the necessary work. That's self-pres, could be 3. 5 can combine several well-proven methods of work. 6, kind of following a recognized structure or several structures. 6 cannot sit idle for a long time. That one to me is self-pres 3.
I'll just do an interpolation here. I'm sorry, but I think this is a keen insight. Is that I imagine a Kersey ISFP 6, the artisan part would be let's combine things, the composer, but the 6-ish part is like I want them to be well-proven methods. So you got the two things there, like the well-proven methods of the 6 and the creativity of the ISFP coming together.
Yeah, that's like saying I want to use Enneagram and Socionics this time.
Yeah.
7, good at distributing money within the given sum. I'm thinking about like a CFO giving out bonuses or something.
Right.
I just don't know what Enneagram type that would be.
I would say still.
Sorry, go ahead.
I would say that distributing money one's consistent with self-pres again, and it could be self-pres 3, self-pres 5. Mostly, I think it's mostly a self-pres thing.
Could also be social if it's like in a business, but also like using the money as motivating people.
Perhaps.
Shannon, did you talk about number 6 about sitting idle?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
And you went on a tangent about it. Don't you remember? Just a moment ago.
Yeah, you see, what happened was because I started thinking about number 5, that impeded my listening to number 6. Sorry about that. Any problem?
INTP problems, not listening.
Okay, yeah.
Consistent with the brain scans.
Yes.
8, organizes the exchange of services, gifts giving. I see a little bit of 4 in there. Get the gifts giving. Although 4s care about the gifts giving, but maybe they're not going to organize an exchange like at a company to organize a Yankee swap or something like that. Maybe that's not so much a 4 thing.
What's a Yankee swap?
It's cruel. It's like something they do at the holidays where you bring a gift everybody brings a gift, and it's a certain dollar amount you spend on it. And you wrap it up, and then you put all the gifts in a pile, and then you grab one that's not yours. And then you take turns either grabbing a gift out of the pile or grabbing it from anybody that went before you, and you can take their gift if you like theirs better.
Well, have they opened their gift yet, or?
So everybody that went before you has already opened a gift.
Okay.
I see number 8 as they're giving gifts. Ostensibly, they're giving gifts, but it's almost like a barter kind of thing where, oh, this person gives good gifts, I'll make sure I'll get them a good gift. The question is how much of it is conscious in terms of how, because the way this is written, it's written from the angle of making it appear to the business aspect of it, although people can just send them a good gift just because they're so appreciative. So there's like different motivations for the same behavior in terms of the exchange of presents. It's just that because it's within this box about business related stuff, it's going to come at that exchange from this angle of it being like a business exchange.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see like a 3 would want to give like the best gifts. Like if they had a wedding, they would have like, you know, the name brands of things.
I will say that according to Catherine, the giving of gifts and stuff is how the self-praise shows love, or providing, you know, maybe not just gifts, but also like giving things or teaching you how to survive. But definitely buying things for someone or giving them gifts is consistent with how the self-praise is one example of how self-praise might show love.
Yeah, I could see the self-present, and it doesn't have to be gifts. It can be any of the 5 love languages that they're giving. I could see a 6 wanting to exchange they give in order to get. And a 1 can do that, but they want to be fair about it.
Shannon, would you mind doing a hangout in future with Jonathan and I about, or rather Jonathan and me, about these love language things?
Sure.
Oh, I'll do the index card right now.
I think Jonathan and I was grammatically correct, and Jonathan and me was not. So you correct.
Yeah, but I said with Jonathan and me.
I know.
The object of the sentence. So the subject of the sentence.
I think the first thing you said was more correct.
What did I say? What was the first thing that I said?
With Jonathan and I.
But you see, the sentence was the thing. The part that was do a hangout with. The hangout is the subject of the sentence, right? And then the me is the object rather than the subject. It's with Jonathan and I.
I'll let you off with it because I try and sound more authoritative with grammar than I actually am. Like I'm not. I actually get my own grammatical rules mixed up.
Well, you see, I read a book called Correct English by Metcalfe and Astle, and this was a book that came out in the 1950s, and then it came out again in 1995. And so I've just realised something. You know, every time I'm on YouTube. Now this is a digression, Shannon. This is nothing to do, but it's all these Grammarly adverts, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute. And I was thinking that it's free, and I was thinking, how do they monetize this? And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, everything everybody writes is going to get scanned, and it's going to be selling that data to advertisers, aren't they? Otherwise, how do the Grammarly people make money? I know they have some, but most people are just going to use the free version of Grammarly. So I reckon that, and everybody knows you've got Grammarly assessing everything that everybody writes. That's got to be useful data to use for advertisers. It's just like with Google, where all of their emails, every time you use Google email, folks, your email is scanned by Google the keywords for the data for advertisers.
Don't write anything anywhere on the internet. It's all going to be sold.
Right, that was a proper digression off topic. I'm sorry.
Anyway, point number 9. I think we're on.
Come on, Shannon, tell us about your good deeds.
Provides welfare assistance to his neighbors and colleagues. Welfare assistance. Right, trying to get back into the mindset of how I'm supposed to answer this. I don't know what particular type this is.
I think that's consistent with 6 because it talks about the welfare assistance to their neighbours and colleagues, like to the people they know specifically.
Yeah, because they want people to owe them.
Or to help.
Well, that would be a 2 thing.
No, I think that would be
I'd say 2 would provide welfare assistance in general, even to strangers, whereas this is like they're helping people, but they're helping people within their circle.
Yeah, neighbours
to be supported later.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking welfare could be anything from like helping somebody with their emotions to giving them $10 to.
Well, this whole thing is business logic, so it's a business. It's like financial assistance.
Yeah.
Financial assistance.
Yeah.
Or maybe more broadly, resource assistance.
So maybe a social or sexual 6.
It's still kind of a self-pres thing, I think. I don't think it's self-pres last necessarily, as far as the type of assistance it's providing. It's like they're providing self-pres assistance. What's the emphasis, I think?
Yeah, I don't know if I can see that. I'll have to go back to that one.
Okay.
Okay.
But have you done it though, Shannon?
Maybe that's why I'm blind to it. I consider myself a self-pres 6, and
also it's going to
there's
vary
some types of
depending on
assistance I would offer to people, but it wouldn't be so much with money.
right.
What kind of assistance would you offer?
I would offer emotional support or knowledge or training.
Is there a reason you wouldn't offer money to assist them?
I think that if I offer money to people, it puts myself at risk. And then I'm dealing with things like people asking for money all the time. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
Well, what if it's someone you trust and know will not take advantage of you like that? Or like if it's only for close friends or family or neighbours or... Well, okay.
Maybe if I was in a position to help people in that way, but I've not often been in a position where I could. Maybe not out of my own pocket, but I will help people to find those resources for themselves. Maybe not out of my bank account, but somebody else's.
But someone else, what?
Somebody else
that's very artisan.
Rob someone.
No, orchestrate a scenario that other people can find help, financial help, like community resources. Like if they need help with housing, I would point them in the direction of community housing organizations. I wouldn't be so much like Robin Hood stealing.
Okay. Right.
I won't talk about Robin Hood, but people should actually check out the actual legend of Robin Hood and how the legend has been corrupted into something else.
Well, changed.
Yeah.
I will say that most of a lot of my family who are 6-ish, a lot of them are actually SJs, I suppose, but generally I can rely on them if I. Generally, my family, if someone needs a loan of money, they'll get it as long as they pay it back. So it's, a certain time, like there's never been a issue there. I suppose it's more the SGs that are generous like that than the SPs or the INFPs.
Right, so Imogen thinks ISFPs can be thrifty in their own way, and this is the final block. So intuition of ideas. Or I think that's basically any, and then you've got ethics of emotions, ETHI. So there, I mean, in red is the bits that sound un-ISFP to me. But Enneagram could explain these anomalies.
Feels uncomfortable when dealing with an unfamiliar task or situation. That is consistent with phobic 6, somewhat consistent with 1 and sexual archetypes. It's not at all consistent with 7 or anything like that. Feels greatly relieved after having done a complicated choice. That is definitely consistent with 6. Finds it extremely hard to risk or improvise. Again, phobic 6, self-pres, etc. Needs advice. Reacts badly to frequent changes in beliefs or evaluations. Yeah, again, phobic 6 would be like that. They want the consistency. The character 6 might react badly to it in certain situations as well, but they may anticipate it. Needs advice on how to act in tangled or ambiguous situations. Absolutely consistent with 6. Can't turn other people's difficulties and problems to his own advantage. What? That sounds like, any break means you cannot be a sociopath. Sorry. Okay.
Because it's such a goody two shoes, apparently this. Hardcore goody two shoes type.
Okay. Unexpected tricks and far-fetched requests frustrate him. I suppose that's also consistent with 6 alone. And again, a lot of people don't like that. So yeah, it could be consistent with a few times, but again, I'd say broadly 6 and phobic 6 especially.
So I'll just talk about my comment down here before I go over to Shannon. So Dr. G associates risk with NE rather than SE. Let's just say he splits it between the two. And then number 3. I think number 3 contradicts the Behrens improviser. So improviser is artisan in Kersey. And then essential motivator pattern. She now calls essential motivator patterns essential motivators. Basically, it's just Kersey temperament. And then number 7. So, for instance, here, finds it extremely hard to risk or improvise. The ISFP is good at improvising, but we saw before with that other one in combining methods that are well proven. So, and then we got here number 7. Best to ask FISX individuals such as Imogen and Kristen about this one. And I could now put Shannon. So over to you, Shannon.
Okay. So number 1 feels uncomfortable when dealing with an unfamiliar task or situation. That's like a 6 that can't use the tried and true method. Number 2, feels greatly relieved after having done a complicated choice. As a 6, I can relate to that. Number 3, finds it extremely hard to risk or improvise. I actually see 3 in that, because 3s can't be caught off guard or with their mask down. And as a 6 moving to 3, I can see that. Number 4, reacts badly to frequent changes in beliefs or evaluations. That's really 6-ish. 6 wing 5. Also, it could be 4-ish. Although 4s change their feelings quite often. I guess that's not a evaluation of themselves. Never mind. 5, needs advice on how to act in tangled or ambiguous situations. That's 6-ish in their need to consult the tried and true method or consulting the authority for clarity. 6 cannot turn other people's difficulties and problems to his own advantage.
Yeah.
Who can't do that?
What?
I'm trying to think of an Enneagram type that can't turn other people's difficulties to his own advantage.
Can you do that?
Certainly.
Ooh, dark side. Tell on.
I just went on a rant about how that sounds sociopathic. So, just turn other people's. Yeah.
It doesn't mean at their expense necessarily. If I see a problem or a need, and if I can fill that need, then maybe my 3-ness will shine, and I'm like, oh yeah, look at me, I look good.
Shannon, have you got some kind of science fiction device around your neck? It's flashing away. What is that?
That's my earbuds.
All right.
I'm gonna put some electrical tape over that light one of these days.
All right. It's good. It looks science fiction-y.
And number 7, unexpected tricks and far-fetched requests frustrate him. I don't really like far-fetched requests that are totally ridiculous and make no sense. And I don't like tricks. I don't like to be surprised. So self-pres 6-ish.
I'm wondering why he associates NE with risk with NE rather than SE, because even Socionics SE sounds like it will take risks.
I know.
Even his description of SE sounds like, there's a degree of risk implied.
Well, what I'll do is I'll try and find the official definitions. He's got little short ones. So if you talk about number 3, Shannon, I mean, is that really the case for you? Because you do have your moments.
Finds it extremely hard to risk or improvise. So I guess it just depends on what we're talking about. So this isn't the inflation avoidance block.
Yeah.
It's the break.
Yeah. So
like I I can improvise with E.S.I. Or like things in my environment. But if it's like with business and somebody wants to know if they can bend the rules given this particular situation, if I hadn't encountered that situation, I'm going to want to not risk, and I'm not going to make a decision right then, and I'm going to consult an authority first. So that's where it's hard for me to risk somebody else's business.
Is it almost like your idea of risk is not like things like jumping on a ice cream truck and stuff is not really risky? That's not what you think of as risk. It's like that's just normal for you, or
it's like I'm not. If I'm risking my social connection or my connection with my authority figure, I'm not going to really want to do that. But if it's just something personal to me that's risky, like I'll risk breaking a bone. I'll ride a dirt bike, a four-wheeler, but I'll do like risky things with myself, but not with other people's things.
Okay. Powers.
Yeah, these are the official short definitions.
Stimulation, aggression, build-up, and release. Yeah, I would say it's still kind of risky.
And there's quite a few discussions with Maria about, especially on that on number 1, about translating it.
I kind of crave unfamiliar tasks and situations, but I'm still uncomfortable while I'm doing it. That number 1.
Yeah, you can see here, if you click on my square, you can see there about the way he's defined I. There is part of that about defying convention. That is part of it, but I would say that that's part of the fact that any DOMs have got the flexible active mindset. And yeah, basically there's risk involved in NE and in SE. But it's with SE, it's more physical risks. And it's fair to say, Shannon, that you are happier taking physical risks, as you said to yourself, than saying these other kind of risks, which are maybe to do with your reputation or standing or things like that.
Yeah.
Right. Double share screen.
Okay, last one. Control. What was this one? FE?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ethics of emotions. And
In
positive
public,
emotions.
In public, holds his emotions at bay. No, that can be. That's an interesting one, Enneagram-wise, because the unpublic thing sounds like a social instinct. I'm trying to decide if the 4 would be more likely to try and say their emotions are private and not for show, or if they just be really melodramatic and show everything. Because they can do both.
Yeah, it depends who you read the description. Like if you need Naranjo's for more expressive.
Yeah, I'd say. Well, it's almost like they regard, probably because they're an emotional type, they're not really consistent with that sort of thing. So, like, they can want to be free to express themselves whenever they want, but they also want to keep their emotions private whenever they want. It's really more of a social instinct thing, I think. But if the reason given is for the in public thing, and I would say that extroverted feeling is there's an overlap with the social instinct. So yeah, I was thinking of 2 as well, but I think social instinct is what I'd go with there. if I was looking for Enneagram correlations because of the in public thing.
Yeah.
However, among his dearest, to become frank and express the feeling openly. That's consistent with social instinct. A few types can do that. Some types just have trouble expressing their emotions in any level, but everyone's more. I think everyone's more comfortable expressing them amongst those they feel closely. Some do more easily than others.
Yeah.
When his emotions break free, it can be hard to stop him. Consistent with 2, consistent with 4, consistent with 6, consistent with 8. I'd say, consider the few types. Does not feel comfortable in the limelight and in front of a big audience. That can be a shy social. It is consistent with 6, which we're talking about. Consistent with 5 as well. So yeah, it could be a shy social first, but it could also be social last. Stands aside, leans against something, shields himself with a tight smile. You're being really specific there, Victor. That's consistent with 5. The tight smile is actually consistent with. Actually reminds me of INTJ. Like a certain type of INTJ, that's a tight smile.
I'll just click on your box. Do that again, Jonathan. Thumbnail.
That better not be the thumbnail. Did you see me smile, or did you just hear me say that and realise, oh, he's smiling?
No, I saw you in the little box.
Okay.
I've got the box clicked on the graphic.
Okay. If that's the thumbnail, I swear to God.
I love the one where you're holding your little Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah. He's up there. I can see his hat. Instead of saying something shows of this. So yeah, that's consistent with social 6. It can be social 5 actually. It's an awfully specific thing to do. So he's definitely thinking of a certain individual, I think. When he expresses his emotion, it does not mean he is offering serious relationships. That's consistent with 4. It's consistent with 6 as well. It's consistent with reactive types in general, expressing their emotions.
Which are the reactive types, Jonathan?
4, 6, and 8. Now, there's other types that can seem like they're offering serious relationships, but not because of that. That's more like a sexual 7, for instance, can seem like they're flirting with everyone. And a lot of ENFPs are sexual 7s. And some sexual 2 as well. But yeah. He is attracted by vivacious and optimistic people who believe in luck.
That's because of ENTJ being a jewel.
ENTJs believe in luck?
Well, they're happy to take risks in business and optimistic. So
Yeah.
I don't so much believe in luck, but they are optimistic, and they get over. Because I've read the ENTJ profile, it will be released at some point, folks. I have the translation from Maria. I just didn't get around to doing the graphic.
That's actually the hardest one, at least for me, to think of Enneagram types for.
What, ENTJ?
No, that's control function.
Yeah.
E thing, this particular one. I can think of a few, but it's like, because
is
I think because FE is kind of unlike the E.S.I in general.
well, yeah, it's just the emotional aspect
Yeah.
of it. I mean, as you can say, the way it's framed, it's in these particular circumstances with people close to them, they can be very emotional. So, for instance, when he expresses his emotions, when people in his dearest, it's like, and it's consistent with that other part, you know, with the SE part where they're quite demure, but then they have these moments where loads of power sensing, loads of emotions. So it's like the cat that suddenly shows its claws, I suppose. It's that big.
Okay. So I would not say it's inconsistent with 6. It's just that it can bring to any other types as well.
Right then, over to Shannon, and hopefully we'll talk a little bit about 4 as well.
So in public, holds his emotions at bay. That's like 3-wing 4 to me. They want to maintain a certain exterior, or 4-wing 5. They in public anyhow. They want to maintain composure. Number 2, among the dearest, can become frank and express feelings openly. The sexual instinct, 4 and 5 specifically. And number 3, when the emotions break free, it can be hard to stop him. I'm thinking of an 8, although a 5, this is the 5's biggest fear, but I don't know if it's necessarily a truth for a 5, that it is hard to stop. Number 4 does not feel comfortable in the limelight and in front of a big audience. That could be several types. Could be a type 9. Could be a social 4. Could be 5. Although the 5 does want to be seen as an expert, they don't necessarily do it to be in the limelight. Number 5 stands aside, leans against something, shields himself with a tight smile. That one kind of threw me off. Maybe a 5. Self-preservation. Number 6, when he expresses his emotions, it does not mean he is offering serious relationships. I can see that in a 4, they want to hear themselves talk about their emotions, but they don't necessarily do it to reel others in. They do it to understand themselves. And a 6 needs an outlet. And again, they don't necessarily, a 6 can have a single serving friend. Like, they can vent to that one person and be okay with never seeing that person again. It's not like they have to build this long-lasting relationship necessarily to open up. And number 7, attracted by vivacious and optimistic people who believe in luck. I think there's a lot of 7 in that, with the optimism and the vivaciousness. And luck throws me off. So, yeah. And I can relate to wanting to control this area for me. I do want to hold my emotions at bay. And even people I'm close with, I don't want to dwell I'll let people know my emotions, but I don't, and I'll be open about it, but I don't want to live in it like a 4 would. When my emotions break free, it's not hard to stop me. I can switch gears pretty quickly. I do not feel comfortable in the limelight or in front of a big audience. I don't feel comfortable in front of a small audience. And I find myself, like with the NLP stuff, I do want to shield myself. Like I'll find myself crossing my arms when I'm feeling uncomfortable and nervous.
What do you mean by with the NLP stuff?
Like if I'm anxious or stressed, I want to put a chair between myself and the other person. If I feel threatened or anxious, I want to put distance between myself and somebody. I guess that would be a phobic response to a threat. So I do find myself shielding myself. And standing aside because I don't want to be in the center. When I went to an Enneagram workshop, it was funny because us 6s were situated around the room where we could have easy access to the door.
I mean, I can see it there. I mean, as you're describing these things, your state is changing. So it's like you go into that place, and you come, and then when you had that funny moment, so that's one of the big things in NLP is state control. Now, I think it's easier for the STPs than other people because say people who've got stronger, in quotation marks, FI, where it's harder for them to change how they feel about things just by with NLP tactics. But I just noticed that how your state was changing as you were talking about those various things.
Yeah.
Because a 7 would change their mind and think about something more pleasant to avoid it. To that old expression, take your mind off it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what was it, Shannon, that persuaded you to actually do these hangouts? I mean, because for ages you didn't want to do them because you were building up confidence, I suppose.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to be behind the scenes.
Yep.
And not be in any kind of limelight or spotlight or responsibility or authority or any of that. What persuaded me, I guess, probably moving more into 5, my 5 wing, and in 3 in my tri-type. Practicing being seen. I guess I have a habit of hoarding knowledge and not using it to interact with the world. The 5-ishness of me, for studying things and not allowing it to be practical. And I wanted to turn this into something that is practical for me.
Yeah.
And I've always been interested in psychology, but I knew I didn't want to be like a clinical social worker. But I am very interested in how different people have different motivations. And I think using all of these systems and trying to understand how they can work together really gives a solid structure for me to operate from, to understand others, or maybe to understand myself even better.
So even though E.S.I and ISFP is any break, you want to look at things from different angles and combine them together. And that is one of the things in the 4 types that are in this Model G profile. I'll just show it on screen as the grid. And there's a purpose, there's method to this madness. It will take a while for it to show up. The reason why is that the way that Model G is arranged, all of these 4 types are in the same supervision ring and therefore have the same form of cognition, according to Victor, which is called holographic panoramic. So if you look at each block, so you've got RS, so that's E.S.I, LT, that's INTP, TINX, FP, that's the social mission block of ESDP, and IE, that's the social mission block of ENFP. And Victor's idea is that all of those 4 types look at things from different angles. And I think he said about E.S.I that they might practice adjusting the psychological distance to see how the person reacts. Or it might have been ENFP that does that with the psychological distance. I can't quite remember, but he did say that ESDP will, and he related it to war, look at a tactical situation, front, back, side, and then put it together in sort of a hologram. And then he also said that the way that INTP thinks, and that's exactly like what you said there, combining the systems to get to triangulate the truth or to get closer to the truth. So even though E.S.I and ISFP is any break, they do like to look at things from different angles. So that's interesting. And Jonathan might say, but that's the 6th then.
Actually, Jonathan was going to apologise for his keyboarding. The noise he was making.
That is a 6th thing, though, wanting to look at things from different angles. Like, see if you've not missed anything.
Yeah. Well, 6s will do that until they decide which side they're supposed to be on, then they can get in trouble because they're no longer doing it.
Right, so I have done a card. And there's the future event, Love Languages and the Enneagram with Jonathan and Shannon. And invite Maria, because she probably knows about it. Because she knows about nearly every system. There we go. Is the title okay, Jonathan? It's not too INTP-ish like this hangout. It's got a ridiculously INTP name, then I cannot help myself.
Yes, the title is fine, Ben.
That one is, I don't know about this one, but it's consistent, this one. It's got all the keywords in there. Socionics, E.S.I, Enneagram.
I say the name for this hangout is, you know, it's compared to some of the other ones, it's quite a modest. It's fine.
Okay. The word I heard there was immodest.
No, it's modest, not immodest, modest.
It's modest.
Yeah.
Which ones of mine have been more grandiose?
Oh. Let me just check there. Let's see.
Yeah, we can actually do a hangout on that. Jonathan and Ben, Jonathan critiques Ben's titles. What were you thinking?
I mean, they all make logical sense. Just like, you know, Socionics, I, and helping me with better video descriptions. I mean, that's just like shape. The thing is shaped like itself.
Yeah, but that is, it made Shannon laugh. I. There we go.
I know, but it's always like a self-evident example of what it's about.
Yeah, but it's a nice little wordplay there, though.
Enneagram, talking styles of each type after type 6 with Shannon. Okay.
Yeah, because I thought that was the most appealing part, so I put that first, rather than saying type 6 with Shannon, then talking styles.
We talk a tale of types of each type after type 6. Thought we did all the talking styles.
No. Yeah, but is the way it is at the moment clear?
Well, for this particular video we're in right now.
Well, I mean, that one about talking styles.
Well, I'm not entirely sure it's clear enough.
Do you want to share the screen, Jonathan, so that the audience has an idea what's going on?
Nah. I say talking style of each type with Shannon.
Well, what did I put?
Talking style of each type after type 6 with Shannon.
Well, let's have a look. Have I messed up there? Let's have a look.
It just seems like a weird after type.
Does it say talking style of each type?
Yes, which is fine, but then it says after type 6, which is confusing. It's not like... I mean, I understand it because it's like we're doing E6 first and then we're doing the talking styles, but the way it's worded makes it sound like the talking style each type after type 6 as if the talking style of 7, 8, and 9.
Right, yeah. Well, I originally thought of doing it something like this. E6 with Shannon, then talking styles of the type. But I thought that the talking styles of the type was more sort of headline grabbing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm looking at now at FINX, INFP, para 1 to 4 of 9. Kiersey, capitals. Healer number 3 in PUM2 brackets #3 equals Monica colon E469 comma Socionics EII bracket close bracket. That's more of a traditional INTP title, I suppose.
but it shows it gets the it shows where we are in the profile, the certain number of paragraphs that have been done.
Yes, very specifically to show you where you are in your profile.
Yeah.
Like, you could not be more clear.
Yeah. Once people know the system, then they will.
Yes.
So to your oneness and your fiveness, does the system help you, Jonathan?
There's a system to this, to the way you number.
Yes, there is a system. The system is where if it's part of a series, where we are in a series, and how many of the other ones there are.
I suppose if, like, now I know there's a method to this madness, I suppose in future it will help me. I just thought, you know, I've never known our hangouts to be quite so straightforward or organized that you could, you know, quite get away with that.
What
Like
is
sometimes-
PUM2?
PUM2, well, I did put an asterisk.
Please understand me.
Yeah, please understand me too. Because I can't. Now, some of them I can fit it in. And I think it was there originally, but because we only did part of the profile, I wanted to put how many paragraphs we got up to. Because that way I'd remember where to start in the next one.
Kamov KA52 versus Mil MI28 colon Russian attack helicopters compared.
I thought that would be a banker. I thought that would go viral. I put a lot of effort into that. I know the differences between those two helicopters. And nothing, hardly anything for it. There's no other video on YouTube about comparing those two. And I'm a bit pissed.
Ah, well. Que sera, sera.
It should have been tens of thousands of views.
Instead, it's 41.
Yeah.
Elena finding her tri-type to help decide between INFJ and INTJ as her Jungian type resemblance. Okay. I could be here all day.
You're not going to share the screen. Okay, Jonathan, you're not going to share the screen.
Jonathan's rating of various Enneagram books, and he died as he lived. Even I. Okay.
Yeah, because that was a joke. Because you were saying about the books on the shelves. Because Emily said those books stressed me out, and then they're going to collapse on you, and then you're going to say he died as he lived, buried under a pile.
Oh, yes, I remember. Anyway, that's enough.
Right then. Well, we'll stop now then. So we'll stop broadcast, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this in-depth hangout. Bye-bye.
The two people watching.
Bye from Jonathan and Shannon. All right.